When you finally got an opportunity to meet Vince McMahon, what did Vince say to you?
Gosh, I don't remember. I wish I could remember the first time I met Vince. So I probably met him in passing and like shook his hand, and he said, nothing happened, whatever. When I was in and around WWE doing like some backstage work when I was signed to the developmental. When we first got called up, in the debut, it's Survivor Series, it's 2012, and we're in these stupid turtlenecks, these cargo pants, and we are called the Shield. And they literally tried to give us riot gear, like Shield riot gear, like these giant plexiglass shields that said Shield on them. And these clubs, like these like batons, that you police riot police beat people with, and like we got rid of the plexiglass pretty quickly, but we're rehearsing during the day, and we have these clubs, and like I remember we're running through the crowd because we're ambushing the show. We're not making entrance. We're running through the crowd. So we're out in the back. It's Indianapolis, Indiana. And we're in the back, and like Vince is on the ring, by the ring, and he's like running the rehearsals at the time. And he sees us with these clubs because the camera's there and he's watching the monitor. And he's like, you could just hear his deep voice like echo through the empty arena. He's like, "What? You need clubs to beat him up? Are you really that tough?" And we're all just like, dump the club. All right, let's go. So that was like my first introduction to Vinceisms.
But you had a move, what was the Curb Stomp? That Vince
Stomp, yeah.
Vince banned it.
He banned it. I win literally the day after I won my first world title at WrestleMania. We're here in San Francisco. It was at Levi's Stadium. I win it. I win the title, get on a jet, fly to New York. I do the Today Show, get back on the jet, fly back over here to San Jose for Raw. This is all on the same day. And I get back to San Jose at the Shark Tank, and he then Vince wants to see us. So I go in the office. He's like, sitting there, and he does this thing. He's like, so, the stomp. I think we're gonna move in a different direction. We're find something else, equally as good and equally as devastating. But I think we're gonna go in a different direction. Yeah, he banned it. I don't know what somebody.
You're like, damn, Vince, I just did this.
I've been doing it for years.
Right.
This is what I think happened, and I don't have confirmation. He watched the Today Show piece. He sees the stomp. He sees people referring it to the Curb Stomp. Somebody in his inner circle said, Vince, I don't know about that move. I think it might be a little too dangerous. I might be, there might be a connotation to it. And like, I don't know, and I'm like, brother, we've been doing it for years.
Right.
It's pro wrestling. None of it is, you can call it something else if you want. I didn't come up with the name. You came up with the name. You call it the stomp, call it whatever. So yeah, he like took it away with no explanation at the time. Just, we're not going to do it. I'm like, okay. And then left me with no finish, his world champion with no finishing move for, it took me like a couple months before I decided to just steal Triple H's pedigree because he was off. He was like done at the time, like kind of not wrestling anymore. So I was like, all right, I'll take it. I was his protege anyway, so it made sense.
So what did Vince say when you started using Triple H's move?
Well, I tried to use a couple different things, and like none of them really took, and like I was not afraid, but I was like, if I ask Triple H if I can use the pedigree, I feel like he's going to say no. He's the only person who'd ever use it.
Right.
So I was like, here's what I'll do. I'll ask Vince about it, and then I know Vince will say yes, just to spite Triple H. And Triple H can't say nothing about it. It was a good idea, though. Anyway, I was a bad guy. Hunter was my mentor. I was his protege. He wasn't wrestling. I was like, it's a good way to carry on the legacy of the move. So Vince okayed it. Whether he did it because he liked it or just to take a shot at his son-in-law, I don't know. But either way, it worked.
One of your most iconic moments in the WWE is that when you had to turn your back on your team, your friends, the Shield.
Yeah.
You like, damn, Vince.
That was painful.
If I must, I must.
It was hard. But the hard thing on it is, they had pitched the story to break up the Shield a few months earlier. We were like, no, man, we're not ready. We're not ready for that. Like, we'd been bad guys. The crowd was really starting to get behind us. We wanted to be good guys. We wanted a longer run. Like, we felt like we had a lot more in the tank. And so we have a match with the Wyatt family in Elimination Chamber in February. Then we go to WrestleMania. We're full good guys at that point. We do 2 6-man tags with Evolution right after that. Like, we're awesome. We're on cloud 9. We're feeling great about things, the 3 of us. We show up to Raw the day after, and they knew that if they gave us heads up, we would say no, and we would find a way to try to fight out of the breakup. So they brought us into the office, and they just said, here's what we're going to do tonight. Tonight. It was also in Indianapolis, Indiana, by the way. A lot of Shield history in that town. And they're like, this is what we're going to do, and Seth is going to be the one to pull the trigger. And I remember, like, in the room, just the silence. And when we walked out of the room, it was like, what do we do? You know, like, can we stop this? Like, are we doing the right thing? And, you know, there was a lot of tension there. And it was mostly, we had found our comfort zone as a trio, and we were really relying on each other, and we enjoyed the process, and we enjoyed performing together, and we did feel like we had more legs. But at the end of the day, it was one of the most shocking betrayals and shocking moments in the history of our company and our industry. And what it set in motion over the last 10 years, 11, 12 years almost now, it has been a complete paradigm shift in our industry. You look at myself, Roman, and Jon Moxley, we're at the very tippy top. And if we had stayed together, it just wouldn't be possible.
Nope.
So you needed that break. I was super fortunate that I was the one to be the catalyst for that. I still feel the repercussions for that today. Like, people still ask me to this day, 12 years later, why did you break up the Shield? You know, these are grown people, because they watched it when they were teenagers.
Absolutely.
You are grown. You know this stuff ain't real. Come on now. That hurts you that bad?
Yeah.
God.
Who determines whether you're a good guy or a heel?
Ultimately, the audience. Ultimately, the audience does. I think, you know, there's suggestions about what feels good. You know, what would, you know, do we need a baby face here? Do we need a heel here? The creative team, we'd like you to do this. We'd like you to do that. And you put forth your best effort. Ultimately, the audience really decides if you're going to be cheered or booed, you know, and that's it. And then you gotta roll with that punch.
Right.
If you swim upstream, it only works so well. You know, eventually it backfires. And so I think you saw that. You know, Roman Reigns is a really great example of that. Roman Reigns is a guy that they wanted to be a babyface, the top babyface for a long, long time. And they were like, we're going to do this. I'm going to force this to happen. Force this to happen. And it never took the way it needed to. When Roman Reigns turns heel, 2020, 2021, changed everything for him. He became more comfortable. He became, you know, more honest version of his character and of his self. He was allowed to become the star that I think everybody wanted him to be as a babyface. And now, because he was so excellent at his role as a heel, they were able to, you know, now he's the biggest babyface and biggest star, arguably, in our company and in our industry. And so the audience did that. They forced that by rejecting for so long. And so, you know, Bryan Danielson is another great example. Daniel Bryan, WWE. He was a guy that the fans, sometimes people just catch fire. My wife, Becky Lynch, they tried to force her into a role as a heel, not reading the room. This is SummerSlam, I want to say 2018 maybe, and she slaps the bejesus out of Charlotte Flair in the middle of the ring, and everybody in the back thought she was going to be a heel. But if you would have been paying any attention to what was happening, you knew that when she slapped Charlotte, that place, it was Brooklyn, was going to go nuts, and they did, and it catapulted her. The audience took her into the biggest female babyface that's ever lived in this company.
Want to join Club Shay Shay? Become an official member by hitting that subscribe button, where you never know who's going to be joining us for drinks and conversation. Don't be late to the party, because you know we like to do something before two something.